Coming up on Currently, Beth Milligan shares stories about the closing of a longtime downtown Traverse City institution and updates on the Central Grade School renovation. Plus, we discuss the First Amendment and eat birthday cake for a special birthday edition of Food Fight. That's ahead on Currently. Welcome to Currently, where we discuss some of the top local stories directly from the journalists who are covering them. I'm your host, Crystal Frost, and this podcast was recorded on Thursday, February 5th. It is a very special episode of Currently. We are celebrating 1 full year of hyper-local news by doing what we do best, hosting a food fight and eating cake. Support for Currently comes from West Shore Bank. When you choose West Shore Bank, you're not just choosing a bank, you are choosing a partner that is committed to the well-being of our community. And you can visit them today on 8th Street or at westshorebank.com. Currently is also proudly sponsored by the National Writers Series, the premier home of passionate readers who love inspiring conversations with best-selling and award-winning authors. And support comes from Old Town Playhouse, where community comes together in downtown Traverse City. Find out about all of their upcoming shows, including Misery, starting next week. Beth Milligan, head writer for Traverse City Ticker, and our food fight correspondent, the Gary Gatzke. Happy birthday, you guys.
Hello.
Happy birthday.
Hello. I'm so excited to celebrate with you today. We've got some surprises. We have a food fight, Gary, with birthday cake.
You know, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I agree.
You're like borrowing from Martha Stewart right now.
You know, I am. I am.
It's a good thing. Gary, anything new in your world? I know you're gearing up for a big opera.
You know, it's that time of year where we start planning for when the snow melts eventually. Mm-hmm. But we should also keep in mind that during the snow time, during the winter time, lots is happening. So for me, professionally, with Interlochen Center for the Arts and the College of Creative Arts, I'm doing lots of planning for some spring and summer programming. And, of course, performance-wise in the evenings, with the Detroit Opera is coming up in early March, as well as a performance with the Traverse City Philharmonic.
Amazing.
Yes, the Brahms Requiem also in March. So even though those items are a month away, we still keep ourselves busy.
Brahms is a good guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice guy.
He's good. He's good.
Love it.
He's meaty.
He's meaty. I love that. Well, we were just talking about when the snow and ice is melting, and Beth, one of the stories that, you know, one of your colleagues did this week with the Traverse City Ticker was about how the bay is freezing.
Yes.
We haven't had that happen since 2019. And in fact, you shared a picture.
I did.
You were on the bay.
I was. I walked about, I would say maybe halfway out, which was a crazy experience. It actually gave me vertigo a little bit. It's hard to describe. You kind of lose like sight of the horizon when you're out in the bay, and it feels more all encompassing, and then you sort of get this like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here feeling. That was people were driving cars out, like they, there was tons of people fishing, so I felt like relatively safe. When I saw the cars out there, I was like, okay, I think I can walk out. But I know, like, yes, Art's very excited. He's been fishing out there this week. People, ride their fat tire bikes to Power Island.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen as much anymore. It used to freeze almost every year in the past. And now, we've gone from freezing 80% of the time to 40%.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of out to Power Island, can we walk to Power Island yet?
I mean, the only thing I'm going to say, because we've had so many comments about the Ticker story, everybody, writes about this. We're not responsible for what people do on the ice.
Right.
So even though it's frozen, which just means that there is ice documented all the way from Traverse City out to Power Island, that's how the Watershed Center defines it. They keep track of the records. Spots can open up in the lake. Some ice can be thicker in areas than others. So I think anyone who lives by water should have the common sense. There is no such thing as safe ice.
Right.
You can take your own risk if you want to go out there. I'm not saying you can or cannot. I don't want that liability. Just always
don't
be
put
safe.
That on me, she
always
says.
Be safe. Fishermen, will usually know how to measure the ice. Just be safe.
When is Art going to take us ice fishing?
He's out there today. I think he would gladly go any day you want to go.
I love ice fishing. So I think that, maybe the next time we do a food fight, we catch our own food fight.
Ooh.
Gary's like, you can have a guest for that one.
Well, and I was just thinking, what locations here in town could I potentially sit in a restaurant or bar and watch from afar and just, with binoculars and say,
Artisan,
oh, there they are.
maybe,
Oh,
or a
Artisan would be a
Passion
great
would be
idea.
good.
West End Tavern.
Yeah. I will say, though, if you've ever been in ice fishing culture, it is comfortable. The shanties are comfortable. People bring their own beverages.
Okay,
Maybe you got some music going. So I think you might like it. I don't know.
I have to think about that.
Well, thank you for that story, Beth. And we are going to move into another story that you broke today, Thursday, the time of this recording, about a closing in downtown Traverse City that kind of caught people off guard.
Yeah. So Union Street Station is closing on Union Street, which it was a shock to a lot of people today, including me. I did talk to Christina Thompson, who's the co-owner of the business.
Okay.
She and Rick own the business. She did confirm to me that they were closing. At the time that we're recording this on Thursday, they have not yet put out a public statement. On Thursday night, they're planning to post something on their social media page.
Okay.
By the time the show is out tomorrow, Friday, we may have more information about what's going on. All I know is that they don't own the building, and there seems to be something happening with the building owner because she said it's not our choice that they're closing. I was playing phone tag today with Bob, the building owner, so I have not yet been able to interview him to get his side of what is happening. But this is, a long-time institution in Traverse City, as you mentioned. It's been open for 134 years. It first opened in 1892.
What?
Now, it's been different names of that bar over the years, and folks in the ticker comment section today have been remembering some of their favorite ones from Cabaret on. So it's been a lot of different kinds of bars, but it has been a bar in that location since 1892.
Wow.
So big change. That story today, when we broke that news earlier today, now is, hundreds and hundreds of comments and shares and people, talking about their memories or not memories in some cases, because a lot of people have too much fun at Union Street Station. Part of how I came to the story is just knowing people in the performing community and live music and in comedy. I started hearing from the performers that they were getting alerts that the February 28th is going to be its last day open.
Wow.
So they were the ones who kind of gave me the heads up that something was going on with the bar, and then Christina confirmed.
Yeah, live music, local music, comedy, it really has been a hub for musicians and other artists for decades.
Yeah,
and including, my little band played there a couple of times. It was to me, it was like a dream because I had been going there for a long time. Since I was, legally able to go to Union Street, I was going to Union Street. So to have, to be able to sing on that stage was just something really special,
Yeah, you and I have been there.
You and I have definitely been at Union Street.
Many times, some of which, like I said, I remember, and some of which I don't. But yeah, it's a big shock. I think, it speaks to a larger issue that I think people are struggling with. Downtown is going through a lot of changes, and while we're still seeing a lot of great retail stores and restaurants downtown, there have been some big institutions that have been changing. And we don't, again, know the reasons for this one yet, but we've seen with other businesses, people retiring, people selling buildings, people redeveloping buildings. It's definitely more expensive for mom and pops to operate downtown. So regardless of what Union Street's particular circumstances are, it's part of this current trend of these places that people have known for a long time in downtown Traverse City. And I think change is inevitable, but it might feel a little bit of whiplash for people just seeing how much change has been happening downtown in recent years.
Well, thanks for keeping us up to date on that, and we'll definitely look to the ticker who broke the story, first of all, Beth breaking the story, and I know you'll be the first to give us some updates.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of changes, let's talk about TCAPS and the central grade reconstruction. What is going on with that big, beautiful old building?
I was going to say, speaking of institutions in Traverse City, I went to elementary school at central grade.
Oh, you were one of the... Yeah, you were one of the luckies.
Yeah, just for a couple of years, for 5th and 6th grade, but
nice.
I loved it. So that is a beloved, obviously, old historic school on 7th Street in Central Neighborhood. People have been going there for decades and decades. So it is an old lady, an older lady, as we say. She needs a little bit of
just
TLC.
A little facelift, a little maintenance.
Just like we talked about with the Opera House building before. So this project has been in the work for many years. The voters in 2024 approved a bond proposal that included, among other things, was a $180 million bond proposal. This central grade school reconstruction was part of that voter approval. So it's an estimated $55 million rebuild of the school. And at the TCAPS board meeting on Monday this week, the design team, which kind of included the architects, engineers, some of the staff, presented the design plans to the trustees and walked them through it. So our ticker story, we have, some renderings of the new school. It's going to be, they went through a process where they got a lot of community input. They got a lot of input from the families, the students, from staff, because it is such a beloved historic school.
Super important.
They wanted to, see what people really wanted. So I think what people will be happy to know if you see the renderings, it's largely going to look similar to how it looks today. We're not tearing it down. We're not completely rebuilding it.
Good.
We're essentially rebuilding the inside
and
of
the
lawn.
Building. We get to keep the lawn.
That was a huge thing that was really important to the community. So yes, even though it impacted some aspects of the design and what's possible on the site, like parking, they did preserve the front lawn.
Nice.
There won't now be multiple entrances into the building on 7th Street like there is now. There will be one consolidated entrance that has a security vestibule that's for modern safety purposes.
That makes
one
sense.
Entry point into the building on the front. Part of the west wing will be coming down. Just a portion of it. But then they'll also be building a new 2-story addition. So all of the pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade classes will be on the ground floor. All of the amenities for those grades under the law have to be on that floor now.
Okay.
They're not all there now because they've been out of code, kind of grandfathered in. But since they're doing the redesign, they have to bring it up to code. So they're getting the new cafeteria, moving that back closer to 8th Street. Lars Hogstad will largely be what it is today, which is something the community should know because that's how many people access the school. They don't go to Central Grade, but they do use Lars Hogstad. The playground area will be fenced in, which is not today. So there's a lot of changes happening. The second and third floors are all being renovated. So that haunted third floor that we all knew as kids where we thought all the burn victims were.
Did you ever see a ghost there?
I didn't see a ghost, but that school really scared the crap out of me when I was there. Everyone was scared of the third floor, and our teachers like to take us up sometimes on Halloween and scare us up there. It's going to be completely renovated. They're with the renovations, they're going to have more classrooms than they need in Central Grade, but because you're going in and spending $55 million now, you want to maybe have some extra classrooms for the future if you're going to grow. So that third floor will be used for professional development, which will be really helpful for the district because right now, students or teachers are required to do continuing ed, professional development, and some of that happens in the summer. And right now what you have is, student or teachers at different schools, they're trying to get their classrooms ready for the fall. They have them all set and then they do their professional development and they have to go in a classroom and move everything around. So this would be like a designated floor where teachers from across the district can do professional development up in Central Grade. And then in the future, it's being designed in such a way that if they need more classroom space, they can convert that into classroom space easily.
Well, I think it's going to be fantastic. I didn't get to go to Central. I was an Interlochen Elementary kid. Rest in peace, Interlochen Elementary. Love that school. It was so awesome. But I remember going to plays at Lars Hogstad and being like, oh, these kids are so special. They have like stairs in their school. We didn't have stairs.
Yeah. And, that has old, sunken gyms. It's got all these interesting architectural things. I will just say, the main thing for folks to know, especially if you have kids going to Central Grade or going to be going to Central Grade. So Central Grade is going to move into Glen Loomis this summer. And then that school will be under construction for the next 3 years.
Wow.
So the Central Grade kids will be at Glen Loomis for 3 years. The school is supposed to be done by May 2029. They'll, over the 29 summer, get everything moved back in, get the new furniture. They have to do state inspections for licensing, all that stuff. And then in the 2029 fall school year is when Central Grade is supposed to reopen.
Oh, I love it. That is fantastic.
Wonderful.
And if people want to come see it, like me, I haven't really, I've been in there at Lars Hogstad for, the writer series and for the film festival, but I haven't really been back in my old elementary school.
Yeah.
TCAPS is going to host a public open house prior prior to the construction starting.
Oh.
And they said that they will allow the community to come in and take pictures and see the old design before
They should have you speak because you are like a very important alum.
Great alumni. They should. The 2 years I was there, very special.
They'll be like one of our best alums. Beth Milligan, I love it.
Well, having played in Lars Hockstead many, many times, it'll be very exciting to see some renovation, especially the air conditioning component.
I was going to say for Gary, yes, for the TC Phil, the air conditioning is a big thing, and the whole school will be air conditioned under the renovation, which they've never had before in this building. It's an old building.
Are any of the schools air conditioned? I don't know.
Typically not. I mean, and this is a problem with a lot of districts, not just TCAPs, but we now in the era of climate change, like usually the school year is getting hotter, earlier or later. So it's more when kids are in school and they have old school buildings that don't have HVAC systems that are modernized.
Yeah.
So that is becoming an issue more and more when they do renovations. Often they're looking at AC.
Oh, I get it. Well, we are going to move on to another story. And Beth, you covered some recent protests and student political activity. And we thought it would be a good idea for us to get up close and personal with our First Amendment rights. It's a very important amendment. It's the first one we remembered to add, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, number 1A. And why don't we start with, some of the protest walkouts and some of the other things that you wrote about I think it was last week?
Yes,
last week.
On Saturday. Mm-hmm. So, last Friday, several hundred students walked out of their classes at TC Central and TC West High Schools during their 6 hours, so towards the end of the school day. In protest of ICE policies.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the ground at the Central walkout and interviewed several of the student organizers. I did also talk to a student organizer at TC West, and they sent me photos and videos of that there, so I was able to verify the crowds and see what that was like. And there were quite large turnouts at both schools. And they just, at least in the case of TC West, it's, more of a closed campus. So they just walked outside, rallied around outside and, came back in. At Central, they walked out over to the Civic Center and back, and they had lots of signs and, kind of talking to traffic and just protesting ICE.
And it was 100% organized by the students themselves.
Yeah. So, what I think was interesting was the walkouts were on Friday. We ran the story on Saturday. That's another story that got hundreds and hundreds of comments. Yeah. I think in our, politically polarized culture right now, people are temperatures are high. Mm-hmm. People are very reactive. And I think many people just comment without reading the story, which is the daily bane of my existence. But in this story in particular, I think it would have been helpful if more people had read the story, because I just saw so much misinformation and conspiracy theories about what was in truth a pragmatic execution of a First Amendment right. The students organized it themselves. It was not in any way endorsed or organized by TCAPS. TCAPS was trying to walk a fine line of respecting the students' First Amendment rights and wanting to express themselves, which is also something maybe a good educational experience to learn how to engage in civics and what's allowed and what's not. They had the same rules that they would apply to any students skipping. So they sent out a warning to families because the students had made it known that this was going to be happening ahead of time. And they just said, you're subject to unexcused absences, just like you would be if you skipped class normally. I had a lot of people commenting, how could they let them leave campus or what? I mean, you can't physically hold. Gary probably knows this a little bit. At an Interlochen, it's a little different because it's a boarding school, but you can't physically restrain a student from walking out of a classroom.
You can't lock them in the
high schoolers especially. We're talking about a lot of seniors here. There were some other grades as well, but they they come and go from campus all the time. They go off campus for lunch. They can leave for appointments. They go to the Career Tech Center. They go to NMC.
Some of them are 18 years old.
Some of them are fully adults, but they do have flexibility to leave the campus as they need to for a whole variety of reasons. And again, if they don't have an excused absence from a parent to do that, then they get, hit with either a tardy or an unexcused absence. So they were aware of those consequences. TCAP said, okay, so that's your choice. So they walked out. I just think it was good to remind folks that you do not lose your First Amendment rights when you go onto a campus, either a high school or a college campus. Schools can impose what are called time and place restrictions, meaning you are not allowed to, as a student, just arbitrarily disrupt classes. You're not allowed to block buildings or traffic. You can't jeopardize the educational or safety environment of a school while you're executing your First Amendment, and schools can put boundaries along that. but students just quietly, walking out and then marching down the sidewalk. They didn't march around the classrooms. They can do that, and then they can take the disciplinary consequence of doing that.
Today, the day that we were recording, I had a conversation with one of the security guards at Central. And I asked, just very candidly, did anything happen? I saw a lot of these comments on social media about pressure, that the kids were pressuring or threatening other people, that they needed to be a part of this, or that there were actual physical altercations. And the security guard said, absolutely not. There was nothing, no physical altercation. Everything was very peaceful, and that the security guard was there the whole time because that's the job, to make sure the students are safe, but that it was all, planned by the students. And so I think that's another element of this too, is that, there's a lot of misinformation that gets tacked onto these stories. And important to remember that some of the stuff that you're reading in the comments is just, quite frankly, lies.
Mm-hmm. And certainly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I was on the scene the entire time for the Central protest. I didn't see any counter protesters. I didn't see the students engaging negatively with, any observers or shout. It was, they had signs, they were occasional chants, but it was very organized. It's across the Civic Center, came back. This story too, we also talked with the student president at NMC of the new Turning Point chapter there, which is a conservative organization. And I felt that was important because the point of my story is that the First Amendment is applicable to students regardless of where they end up on the political spectrum. Right. I think it's a really important amendment as a journalist. It protects me. It gives me the freedom of the press. But I also think it's a very misunderstood amendment. And just like the second and others we've seen recently, it's one where people tend to be more defensive of it when it applies to their political views and less concerned about preserving the rights of people who don't agree with them. Mm-hmm. But I think we just need to remember that these amendments are here for all of us. And this is particularly true when you're talking about young people. I think I was really disturbed by the tenor of comments that were directed at minors, in this story, who are just really learning to exercise these rights and tried to do it very respectfully. And also, I don't think a lot of people in the comment section actually read what the students share with me in the story, which was very thoughtful about why they were engaging with this. They really had taken the time to research these positions. They knew themselves what they believed. They were doing it out of their own beliefs, not because anyone told them to. Mm-hmm. And same for Brianna at Turning Point. When I talked to her and went through what she went through with the protests against Turning Point on campus last week, and the same thing where NMC is not endorsing Turning Point as an organization. It is allowing all students equally to have the ability to form groups that align with their beliefs. And as long as they're not, being discriminatory, meaning they're not preventing students from joining, they're allowed to kind of believe what they want to believe and just, go with that as long as they don't interrupt education on campus. So.
I saw a lot of comments specifically like, oh, yeah, those kids just wanted out, or just want. I memean, and who knows? But what I know for sure is that people have been underestimating young people for, since the beginning of time. Yeah. It's just something adults are like, well, you don't understand that. And they do.
Well, and I would say students could skip literally any day of the week if they want to. They don't have to have a protest as an excuse because, again, it wasn't a sanctioned TCAPS activity. It's not like they get to get out of class for free. They had to deal with the consequences of it. And if I was going to skip as a high schooler, I was very cold covering that protest on Friday. It was in the single digit temperatures. So not the ideal, let's go in a class.
Right.
There are a lot of things that students do when they skip class that are more fun than I think being in the freezing cold temperature for an hour with a protest sign.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great college essay of why I skipped and didn't get perfect attendance. It's, exercising my rights.
Did you ever skip class, Gary?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
I will not name the individual, but it was a very unassuming individual who asked me to skip, and we just drove up the peninsula and drove through very large puddles to make splashes. I mean, something so simple and innocent.
You're such a rebel. I remember skipping for and being like, it was super excited to skip, like, oh, we're going to leave. And then we would be like, what are we going to do? And I went to Benzie, and we would go down to, if you're from Benzie, you remember Miller's Landing. It was the old, it's a gas station now, but it used to be called Miller's Landing. And we'd get chicken tenders and potato wedges, and then we'd go back to school. That was like
And I would skip class and go and hang out in the library because I was such a nerd.
Oh my gosh.
I would just read books. I was a real nerd.
Wow.
I was bored in class, honestly.
Look at all of us, just nerds. I'm eating potatoes. You're driving up the peninsula and you're going to read. Look at that. I love it. Well, when we come back, we are going to be celebrating the 1-year anniversary, the first birthday, the cake smash for Currently. And we're going to do a little food fight battle. But right now, a word for our friends at the National Writers Series. I want to share something really special that is happening with one of my favorite organizations in Northern Michigan, and that is the National Writers Series. And if you've never experienced the National Writers Series before, I would say it's one of the coolest things that we have here in Northern Michigan. They bring world-class authors and conversations right to our community, and honestly, it's one of those bright spots that makes Traverse City feel a little bit bigger than it is in the best way possible. Coming up next is an evening with James Martin, SJ, happening Tuesday, February 10th at 7 p.m. And this is one of those virtual only, so you don't have to leave your couch, right? You can watch from your couch, you can watch from your kitchen table, wherever you are. It is Father James Martin. He is a Jesuit priest and best-selling author, and someone a lot of people recognize from national media and the podcast world. He's known for his thoughtful, welcoming approach to faith and humanity. He's interviewed very notable guests, including Whoopi Goldberg and Cardinal Timothy Radcliffe and Pete Buttigieg, just to name a few. He'll be featured in conversation about his book, Work in Progress, which is a memoir. It's told through the jobs that shaped him, everything from being a busboy and a dishwasher to a caddy to a corporate job, all the way to becoming a priest. And Martin will be joined in conversation by journalist John Dickerson, whose extensive TV and interviewing background will promise to make the event inspiring and funny and deeply relatable. So mark your calendar for February 10th at 7 o'clock. Grab a virtual ticket and treat yourself to a night that's going to leave you thinking and probably smiling too. You can get your tickets right now at nationalwritersseries.org, and I'll see you there online. All right, we are back for Food Fight. Super exciting.
Woohoo.
And look
I'm
at all this
excited.
cake. Are you guys ready for, we can talk about this cake?
Yes.
And we can celebrate the 1-year anniversary. I guess I should talk into the microphone. Of Food Fight, of Currently, I should say. And Beth, just to say a few things before we get into the cake. Beth and I used to do a weekly show back when I had a talk show, and then it went away for a while because I went into a different career path. And when we decided to bring this back, it's just been so sweet and great. And having you here every week has just been amazing. I'm so excited that you are my partner in this. And Gary, to have you here as well about every 2 to 3 months to talk about food.
Hey,
which was the favorite thing of all of us to talk about. The news can honestly wait. This is what I live for.
Yes.
Really tough job. And
we live for Food Fight. Gary, you've been so great. So, but Beth, I just wanted to give you something. This is something from Shelley Taberski, Whiskey Birds, made something for you.
Shelley Taberski.
I know. And she is just a wonderful little artisan, and I had her make a little something for you. I hope you like it.
I'm sure I will. Oh my God! I love that.
So it is for those
lovebirds.
Yes, for little lovebirds. I love it. That is so
adorable.
sweet.
We can say it's me and Joe, but I'll think it's me and you. This is us on the show.
I love it. Yes,
that is amazing. Thank you so much.
Locally sourced rocks.
I love Shelley. Shout out to
Yes.
Shelley. That's incredible. Thank you. And I want to just give you and Jordan a shout out too.
Yeah,
our man behind the camera and you. This has been so fun to do with you guys.
It's been so much fun. So should we eat some cake?
Yeah. Can you tell us about? I'm not even sure. I want to hear what we have. Yeah. Let's.
So we decided to get 3 different kinds of cake, all chocolate cake today that we're gonna be featuring. And Gary has a Sweet Tartlette cake right now. Sweet Tartlette is over on Union Street in Traverse City. And this is a simple chocolate cake with a buttercream chocolate filling and frosting. It looks beautiful. Can't wait to eat it.
Love the rotation.
Over here we have Water's Edge Sweet Tooth. So I did not do a great job of cutting this, but here we are. It's a beautiful cake too. It has a chocolate filling with a chocolate ganache throughout. Also a buttercream chocolate frosting as well. And Water's Edge Sweet Tooth is also on Union Street in Old Town, Traverse City.
You can do like a bar crawl of bakery.
With cake crawl. Yeah, I love it. And then, Beth, you have a giant piece. We decided to go a little bit more big box with this one. And I've heard a lot of people talking about the Costco chocolate cake with the mousse filling.
Okay.
Oh.
So here we are. It looks incredible. And, just to kind of give you an idea, these, the downtown cakes anywhere from $25 to $35, and then the Costco cake about $20. So
that is
definitely good.
That is a huge cake.
Yes, it is.
I mean, these all look great.
So we like to talk about, for every budget too. So
yes.
There you go. Should we start with Sweet Tartlette?
Yes, let's give it a whirl.
All right.
So I will take the first bite. Happily.
Oh my God. It's taken all my restraint not to already start eating everything.
Sorry, it smells so good.
Oh my goodness. Oh, before I pass it,
you have to
I'm
take
gonna
another
take
bite.
another bite. So I'll pass it on to you, Christal.
All right. So Sweet Tartlette. I have been a fan of Sweet Tartlette for a while now. They have this beautiful dense cake with this buttercream. Oh my gosh, so good.
Okay. And then I just...
And Beth is just eating the rest.
Yeah. This looks great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is so good.
Yeah, that's... They've done good over
they
at
did.
Sweet Tartlette.
Okay, the moisture of the cake
itself,
is
right?
amazing. I don't like a dry cake, and that is really moist and delicious.
I think the worst thing you can call someone is a dry cake.
Yeah.
That's going to be my new attack on people.
You're just
my
a
new
dry
insult.
cake.
You're just a dry cake.
All right, I love it, and we'll finish that one later.
We'll be finishing that off camera.
This is the Water's Edge Sweet Tooth, and I'm going to take a chunk here and
take a bite out of crime.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay, then
so
I'll come around to you,
good.
Gare. I love the little flowers on the side.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the buttercream's so good, and that ganache.
Oh.
Like, shut the front door, that ganache.
These are unsponsored responses for me. This is my genuine reaction. Everything is delicious.
We have paid for every one of these cakes.
We have, yes.
Just so you know.
Now tell me the business name again. It's,
Water's Edge Sweet Tooth.
Okay, yes.
It's in Old Town. And they have incredible. We actually had their pumpkin donuts before.
That's right.
Okay, I thought
so
we had
good. And they have cakes and cookies and all sorts.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Uh-oh.
So good.
Uh-oh. You know what would go really well with this? A nice glass of champagne.
Oh, it seems like we have some very nice champagne right here. Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Okay.
But Beth has the Costco cake, and then we'll pour the champagne.
Okay. So this is our Costco cake with the mousse in the middle.
Way to go, Costco.
Okay. I think it's a little lighter. I think maybe the mousse is what's making it taste lighter, a little more airy. It's really nice.
Ooh. Yeah, lighter's the right
you know what
word.
I mean? Like it's like a spongier texture. The mousse is really nice.
I like it.
Yeah, the first time I had a Costco cake that I recall was over the holiday season, and it was one of those double chocolate frosting, chocolate cake, and I thought, well, that's delightful. And at a price point of roughly $20, that's quite good.
It's huge. Like that is a really reasonable price for that cake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's good. I mean, this is the kind of thing you might not think about Costco for cakes, and here they are.
So if you had to do a large crowd this, I will say though, even the price point for the smaller cakes, still that range, they're so rich and delicious that you don't need a huge piece. Like you could just eat that for breakfast every day.
For 3
I would just
days.
buy one for myself and put it in the fridge and eat it for breakfast.
I mean, this is a hard one. Honestly, it's a hard one. And I think as we open our champagne and decide, which one was our favorite, we also have a bonus little bite. And these were made by Beth's partner, Baker
Giuseppe made these for us.
Made currently little, what are these? Like Madeleines?
I wish I knew the name. Yeah, they kind of look like Madeleines. Gary said that. They are delicious. They have this like kind of fudgy chocolate paste on top and a little, I think it's coconut inside. You guys tell me what you taste.
All right, so we
Joe's going to be like, you described this
have
completely
one
wrong.
of these. I'm just going to take one.
They're delicious. I had one last night.
Gary's going to take one.
Sure.
Joe woke me up this morning by packaging these, and then he sang me happy birthday for currently.
Aww.
Which is sweet. Okay,
Oh my
cheers.
gosh, cheers to the, oh wow. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's nutty.
I think there's some kind of nut in there. Or coconut.
It's
and
coconutty. Something's going on.
It's
very
delicious.
good.
It's chewy, which is my favorite texture.
Oh, I love it.
Making.
I love it.
So delightful.
Champagne?
Well, champagne, while we mull it over, I get really nervous when someone opens champagne. I just went,
Woo!
Love it.
And
thank you for what a fancy bottle.
fancy
here.
bottle. Well, you only turn one once.
just like that.
And just like most 1-year-olds.
And just
We'll
like
be
that.
celebrating
there we
with
go.
champagne.
Thoughts on the cake? What do you think?
I mean, okay. It's really hard. I would say the lightest one, I think, is Costco.
Yeah.
So maybe one that you could have more than one piece of because it's not just so dense and heavy. And again, great for a crowd. But I really love the buttercream. And I'm like, both of them are great. And I'm kind of going towards the first one. But I love them both. Honestly, there's not, I don't even have much of a sweet tooth and I could eat all of these by myself and go into a diabetic coma.
I don't think that there's a bad cake on this table.
Absolutely not.
I got to tell you, I love the buttercream. I love the simplicity of the Sweet Tartlette. It's just buttercream and then the dense, very moist cake. Very, very good. But there's something about that ganache.
Yeah.
And I've got to go with, I'm 100% going to eat every cake no matter what. But I've got to go with the Water's Edge Sweet Tooth, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, this is a tough call. I will agree with Beth with the Costco cake. I think it's tradition. It's a cake that you may have had during your childhood that your mom would have made.
Tastes like a Duncan Hines, which I think are just absolutely delicious.
Like a little fancy Duncan.
Yes.
But as we tried the Sweet Tartlette and Water's Edge Sweet Tooth cakes, I mean, both are transformative to experiences in the big city in New York or even travels to Europe of just the delicacies of really fine bakeries. A favorite? Oh,
I don't
boy.
know.
I think I really enjoyed the first bite of the Sweet Tartlette cake and its consistency and grandeur. But the ganache and the Water's Edge, hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's quite
ganache
good.
about it,
So,
I don't know.
I think the two contenders are our two businesses in downtown Traverse City. But I think you won't be disappointed if you get
Yeah,
either
and again,
one.
if you need a big crowd, grab a Costco cake.
Or, just
High quality.
that Costco cake is
Or
me.
just-
It's just me on a Saturday night.
Just a bad Monday.
Well,
cheers.
Cheers
Yes,
to one
to
full
one
year.
year.
I love
And
it.
to our viewers, thank you. And listeners.
Oh, fantastic. I love it.
Ooh. Well, that's a lot better than
wonderful.
the normal $7 bottles of bubbly I usually get. So.
That is wonderful. You guys, before we go, other than all the cake we're about to eat, what are you looking forward to this week?
Well, I'm going to let Gary say one of the things because we all have plans this weekend, I think. So my thing is I am really excited. I'm going to watch the Olympics opening ceremony tonight. I love the Olympics.
Yes.
It's very fun. And it's a weird time for our country right now. And so I'm glad to find something that I can get excited about. And the Olympics is for me. I love it.
100% agree on that. Gary?
So other than some personal practice and maybe just some cleaning out of things in preparation for an actual big spring cleaning, is I'm hosting a Super Bowl party.
Yeah, you are.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm going to go to that Super Bowl party.
And for those who know me, know I know very little about sports.
Yes.
But I have good friends in Southeast Michigan, Josh and Carrie Merchant, and their son goes to Northwood University in Midland, and I've been able to go to some of his football games in the fall. Because he plays.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to text my friends to share, hey, do you guys know that opposing teams study the moves of the other teams?
Oh, Gary, bless your heart.
And they all responded, yeah, we know.
Yeah, Gary.
Well,
we got it.
So, but I am hosting happily, and it should be a fun gathering of friends.
You got
And
some
I
good
love it.
supplies for Christmas from our friend
I did.
Aaron.
I did.
Yes.
I got an incredible Christmas gift.
Yeah.
That includes lots of great party favors.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
that
excited.
is fantastic. Well, in the spirit of the Olympics and in the spirit of sports, I'm really looking forward to soaking up some Olympic spirit right here in Traverse City. The Traverse City Curling Club. It is kicking off like a Learn to Curl. It's kicking it off tonight, February 7th, with Spirit Day, and you can learn how to throw a curling rock, or you can jump into a pickup game, or just do cocktails and watch some Olympics, right? Then on Friday, February 14th, they're doing a community family day with a family-friendly Give It a Curl session. And then it all wraps up at February 21st. They're doing another Try Curling event. But they're doing all these events. And when I think about the Olympics and my very limited physical attributes, I think the only sport I might be able to do is curling.
Yeah.
So
I'm
there we go.
I'm not going to disagree, but I'm going to put myself in that category.
There we
with
go.
you.
Maybe we all do some curling during the Olympics. I love it. Well, friends, that's it. One
Happy
year.
birthday.
1 year down
Yay.
and many more to go.
Hope so.
All right. Thanks to Beth Milligan and Gary Gatzke for another great episode of Currently, and for one full year of local stories, local food, and local friends. Be sure to subscribe to the show on all platforms at crystalfrost.com. Follow us on social media and subscribe to Currently with Crystal Frost wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the full show on YouTube and on Facebook. Currently is a Compass Local podcast. It's produced by Pancake Boy Productions in downtown Traverse City. Big thanks to Old Town Playhouse. Don't miss Misery on the Main Stage, and to the National Writers Series. You can learn more and get tickets at nationalwritersseries.org. And special thanks to our lead supporter, West Shore Bank. Start saving today at westshorebank.com. See you next week.